Hello there. Let's see. Whoever's out there, if that's Aaron, mic your stuff or mute your stuff, dude. Most of the folks tend to watch these after they've been live broadcasting. Who's that? Is that you, Aaron?
Yeah, I just need to be
Good morning.
maybe the host, Adam.
Make you the host? It's working, dude.
Okay, I can't live stream. Or we can't live stream.
That's not live streaming. I see somebody. Hi, Julia. Julia, we're doing a little technical difficulty. Hey, Lou. Hey, Carol. Wave if you guys can hear me. Yeah. Hey, Aaron, I think we're good.
Just via Zoom though, so you need to make me the host. Hey
Got it.
guys.
Where do I do that? How?
So click the participants, and then in the menu, you'll see me. It says embody, or it says admin co-host. I say screenshot.
Make you withdraw co-host. It says you're co-host.
Yeah, make me a host.
Make host. All right, dude. Here you go. I'm going to start teaching. You good?
Alright, it's all you.
All right, dude.
Thanks, guys.
Hey, turn my screen back on. Dude, turn my screen on.
You have to click on your screen.
What? The screen's on, Aaron. Leave it on. I actually have a live person here in the room.
Hey, everybody.
But neither him or I have fully shaven lately, so I will not turn the camera towards him. But I have farly outdone his mustache.
Yes, yeah.
I got you by a little bit there.
I'm catching up. Little by little.
I'm going to be shaving it. I'm going to be doing a couple videos on Friday, so I'm going to be shaving down,
Nice.
get down to my teaching weight. Too much facial hair to teach really, really well. Hey, good morning. If you got your seat and stuff set up, do that. I might grab a yoga strap in a little bit. So at home, if you have something like a belt or rope, a thickly twined set of shoelaces that you used in a survival situation, or a yoga strap, you might want to have that handy. If not, don't worry about it. Take a seat, let your eyes relax. So take a few breaths as you let your eyes soften and close. If you've been part of any of the classes where I've talked about mindfulness, and especially any of the classes about open monitoring, we're heading in that direction. So use your breath to kind of chillax or calm down, especially in your nervous system. Emphasize the longer, more sweet exhale. Then I want to get you going today, so go ahead and bring your hands up to your heart. If you are familiar with the Anusara chant, since this is Anusara yoga, you are totally welcome to join in wherever you are, no matter what time it is, or even if you're just watching a replay. If you'd like to join in, take a deep breath. Om Namah Shivaya Gurave Sachetananda Mortaye Prapanchaya Shantaya Niralambaya Tejase Before you open your eyes or move your hands, take a breath and see if you can soften into that place where it feels just a little bit more safe or comfortable to let your attention broaden out and notice some of the uncomfortable things you might be trying to avoid these days. Let's just open your monitor more wide. And then if you feel like you're ready, you can let your eyes open and go ahead and bring your hands back down. I see a whole bunch of people from the in-body stuff, which is so good to see you. So I can see a few folks on the screen. I can see like, I don't know how many, a bunch. If you're familiar with the in-body stuff or you've been in a past training here, this weekend we're doing the part 3 of what I've been teaching for their anatomy and biomechanics and functional movement stuff for their therapeutics program. And so I only think there's like 1 or 2 spaces. You could ask Aaron, get a hold of him directly. We don't really have the space to let a large number of folks in. So if one of you folks who's familiar with the studio wants to get a hold of Aaron, let him know if you're interested. And it'd be great to see you and answer your questions too. Otherwise, if you're just going to watch the replay of this, it's a totally awesome program. I'm sorry that you can't be there. Darn it. Okay, so a couple weeks ago, and I think last week, I got into a little bit of the mindfulness stuff again, and we talked about open monitoring, where you kind of self-soothe enough to let your attention begin to notice, what if this stuff never changes? What if I can't get chili pepper covered mango slices from Whole Foods because there's such a rush on it? Everyone's got toilet paper, so what are they going to take next? Chili covered mango slices. How will I survive? And if you've just been ignoring this concept, see, I didn't talk about pecan pie. I figured people shuttered at home probably shouldn't think about pecan pie because then it will be hard to get out of the house if this quarantine stuff ever ends. So letting yourself notice these things that you're kind of suppressing inside a little bit can be part of open monitoring. Part 2, and what we're going to add in today, is just when you do notice something. There's this wonderful author, Kristen Neffs, and she does a lot of work on self-compassion. And so she's working with some other folks, and they're mixing mindfulness and self-compassion stuff. And it's just, I think it's one of the new waves in that whole mindfulness stuff. So if you do notice something, then the next question beyond just noticing, and this really does reflect back to other long time past yoga practice techniques more on the meditation side. If you do begin to notice something, one of the questions to ask is in a very compassionate way, what do you need in order to be able to face this? What type of self-soothing, self-acceptance, self-love, self-support do you need to have in order to be able to let this thing you're trying to hold down exist and allow you to maybe even work with it or acclimate towards it, adjust to it? And so that's the idea. Let's get moving. Downward facing dog pose. You got my yoga blocks. Got my fanny pack. Stretch back into your downward facing dog pose and make sure that everything's tucked in correctly or tied up and situated. And then move your body a little bit. I think some folks, what I see in my neighborhood, man, I'm seeing people in my neighborhood that I'd never see. So I think there's a lot of people getting out and moving around with some of their extra time. So maybe your calves and ankles are really tight and sore. Push back into that down dog, and when the back of your legs start screaming, like, what did you do? that's when I want you to take a breath. And don't just try to avoid those uncomfortable body sensations. Oh yeah. Take your right leg and lift it up. Go up really high if you can. Oh yeah. And then work that right foot up to the front of your yoga mat. And then bring your hands up to your hips and take a breath. So I want you to calm back down, drop back in. That's it. Stretch up. So there's kind of stages to this mindfulness and self-compassion. And the first stage is just self-soothe, chill out, soften, do your breath. On your exhale, downward facing dog pose. And that's something I think we all probably practice a lot. Left leg up, take it up really, really, really high. Check and see how that feels. And then work that left foot to the front of your yoga mat. And you're welcome to just abbreviate. Like if you're gonna center better with your hands on your front thigh, just do that. If you feel like you wanna get up and stretch up, you're welcome to. But the goal right here, beyond just the pose, is to drop back in. Do your breath, get to a little calmer place. On your exhale, chaturanga or downward facing dog pose. And remember, except for the people whose cameras I can see, remember, like nobody's gonna tattle on you if you skip that chaturanga. Let's bring your right foot to the front of your yoga mat again, and then just take a breath. And I'm gonna go with my hands on top of the front knee. And very purposely, I wanna trigger your nervous system a little bit. So shift your body forward, try to lift up your back leg, and balance. Just for a couple seconds. And then come on back into your lunge. And bring your hands up in the air. And what you might notice when you get back here and you're grounded in this pose, your breath picks up, and it might even make up for holding your breath when we were balancing. Chaturanga, or downward facing dog pose. Oh yeah. Anybody ever just do like early chaturanga and go, I nailed it? Let's go left foot forward and come up. Wherever you need, hands on your thigh, on your hips, or up in the air. Drop back in. And that's an inner calmness place amongst maybe pumping muscles and maybe even amongst heavy breathing. Shift your body forward. Try to balance. My guess here is your nervous system would try to lock you up and you probably won't breathe as much, where you could be frightened by the mustache that you're finally noticing. It's temporary. Come on back. Do the breath, drop in, and stretch up. Doing the breath and dropping in doesn't create mindfulness, but it makes it a lot easier. Downward facing dog pose. You can add that chaturanga in if you'd like. Lou, I can see you out there. I'm expecting like 5 chaturangas. Let's work your right foot to the front. Get up tall and stretch it. Nice job. Open it up to the side, second warrior pose. And just take a breath. On your arms, I don't want you to lift them way up high, but I want you to make them tight. And just see if you can lift up a little against all of your muscle tension so that your shoulders start to wake up. And then on your exhale, we're going to switch, chaturanga or down dog. So you can pick how you want to do it. And then let's go, when you're ready, left foot forward, first warrior pose. I got to tell you something I love. For years, I've been telling people, you don't have to do chaturanga. And when I get a look at people's home practice and I say, hey, you can skip chaturanga, it's amazing how many people who would never seem to skip it in a public class because the person next to them's doing a chaturanga, but at home, that chaturanga, it's gone sometimes. Second warrior pose. tighten the arms. You can pretend like you're holding, big giant cans of, tomatoes or whatever it is that you've hoarded, and lift them. And I want you to activate your shoulders, but not your neck. On your exhale, chaturanga or downward facing dog pose. Open up. Downward facing dog pose. And then we're going to bring your right foot to the front and set your left knee down. And do Anjaneyasana, kneeling lunge, where we let the body lean and glide a little bit forward. Just a little bit. I do want to keep the arms in this. So if you don't have to lean on your thigh as your body goes forward, take your arms out to the sides. And I'm doing jazz hands so you can see my open palms to the front. So this isn't anything about pull the shoulders back. This is about tighten the arms. This is like agitated jazz hands. And then I want you to rotate thumbs back. And as you rotate thumbs back, I want you to get all the way so the tricep underneath comes forward and the bicep on the top rotates back. And it feels like your shoulders are rotating back and down even without you pulling it. Switch legs. Kneeling lunge, left foot forward, Anjaneyasana. Take those arms out. Now, if you feel it a lot up in the neck, you can take your hands lower. Sometimes that's easier to manage. And it's arm rotation in the direction that takes your shoulders round and down. Okay. If you'd like the challenge a little more, take your arms a little higher than your head. Rotate. And you might even be able to see it on the camera. If I rotated this way, the shoulders rotate forward and up. And if I rotate this way, thumbs back. Now, if you have your thumbs going pointing straight back, it's like if you look up at the ceiling, it's like you're hitchhiking to the heavens. That's it. Downward facing dog pose. If you're under like 40, hitchhiking was a way people would get around if they didn't have a ride. Don't worry about it. Take your right leg and lift. And bring your right foot to the front. First warrior pose, right up there. There you go. Shift forward. You can plant your hands on your thigh. Try to come up and balance. Now, if you can balance without using your hands, just drop your arms straight down. You can do a little bit of pulling to plug them in, but I don't want you to squeeze your shoulder blades together. That'll get in the way of our rotation. Make your arms tight, rotate your thumbs open, straight out to the sides. Like show me the bicep, show me the front of the deltoid, show me the inside of the forearm. Rotate it back into first warrior pose. Sweep it up, don't worry about the arms. And switch sides. Chaturanga, anything you want to do, just switch sides. I see some people at home who just stood up. I love it. If you're ready for chaturanga, do it. Left foot forward. Shift your body weight. Lift your back leg. One leg balance pose. So if you can, right there. If you can do it without needing to brace, hang the arms straight down. Very gentle plugging in. Hug the armpits back without any scapula squeeze. Okay? Rotate. Now, if you can't do this while balancing, in your lunge, lean forward. Same stuff. Rotate. Rotate that bicep all the way out and open. And see if you can feel this stuff open. Rotate. First warrior pose. Now just reach the arms up without a lot of extra technique. Just do it natural. On your exhale, step to the front and fold forward. Uttanasana. Let your head tip way down low. Really low. And inhale, come all the way up. Bring your hands down to your heart. Nice work. Inhale and stretch up. On your exhale, take forward fold. Straight down and in. Inhale and lengthen. Look forward. We're just going to step that left foot straight back. Put your left hand on the ground or a yoga block, and then open up. So nice gentle entry in the twist. On your next exhale, second warrior pose. You can even brace and then rotate. Do the breath. Drop back in. Put your back hand on your back, hip or thigh. I'll show you from the side view if you're not sure what I'm doing. And reach really tall. On your next exhale, chaturanga or downward facing dog pose. If you want, you can also just stand up and switch sides. Let's work your left foot to the front. And with your right hand down on the ground or on a yoga block, you can just rotate, stretch up. You're welcome to brace, that's using the top hand against your front knee for a little extra support as you come up and open into second warrior pose. How you doing there, man?
Doing good, man.
I love the bandana. I just do. Put that back hand on your back hip or thigh and stretch it up. And on your exhale, we're going to fold and step to the front. So that's our back to Uttanasana. And take a deep bow. We're just going to reverse the order on that. Inhale, lengthen and look forward. Lengthen and look forward. This time, take your right leg back. Right leg back. With your right hand down, twist it open. Technically, we just did this side. I'm just going to reverse it. We're going to play it back in the opposite order. If you're one of the teachers in the teacher trainings, in my sequencing, I'm just, again, reversing it, backing it up. On your exhale, second warrior pose. So I am starting left leg side this time. Tip it back and stretch up. Really tall. All the way from the hip and waistline, way up the side body. On your exhale, chaturanga or downward facing dog pose. So you can do that whole vinyasa whenever you need. Let's bring your right foot to the front. I've already got my left hand down on my yoga block, so time to just twist it. Reach up, look up. If you're having a tough time looking and reaching straight up, please use the yoga block, and I'll add to why in a couple moments. Second warrior pose, Virabhadrasana 2. Tip it back, stretch up really big. Oh yeah, man. Open that up all the way up the front side. And breathe right in there. Uttanasana. You got to turn a little, step, and fold. Inhale, come all the way up and stretch up. And bring your hands back into your heart area. Inhale and reach up. Take it up. And exhale, fold. Take it down. Big, bright, lengthen. Lift your sit bones as you lift your head. And then straight back into down dog. Both feet back. Let's take your right leg and lift it up. And then bring your right foot up to the front and come into a kneeling lunge. Anjaneyasana. Okay, take those arms out to the side. A lot of times we do this in second warrior pose. Tighten the arms, rotate the thumbs back, And when I rotate back, my armpit is kind of getting a little more open to the front, and my deltoids are rotating back, and hopefully my shoulder blade goes down a little bit. So go there, and then we're gonna try to hold the shoulder blades there. From there, take that elbow on the right side, and I want you to start to push it back. Take the arm on the left side and push forward. So this is just our power twist. Push really strong, and if you need, exhale right into the core. If you've been here for those, do that. Reach, open it up, take that right arm straight back. There you go. Cool, and open it up the other way. So I'm still kind of forward in my lunge, but I'm gonna take that left arm. I'm gonna see if I can put it back. Maybe back on the heel, the calf, or a yoga block. There you go. So the hips are opening up a little bit. And bring it on up. Switch legs. If you need to do a chaturanga, have at it, young man. Left leg forward, Anjaneyasana. Take a breath. We've been working on this power twist, and that's when we create a lot of turn, but we don't hook and like push and use all this leverage. So in this one, arms out to the sides, we're just adding a little bit of alignment, tone through the arms, rotate your thumbs, the eye of the elbow, the biceps, up, up. And as you do that, take a breath. This is where I'm gonna ask you to monitor, be mindful. As you rotate your arms like that, what do you feel in your shoulder blades? They move at all. They go up, they go down, do they just stay put? Okay, on that same side, left side, take that arm and begin to push the elbow back. Take the right arm and push it forward. You're totally welcome. Use the breath. Tighten in the core and see if you can reach. Reach way back there as you push. Yeah, and this is a little bit of an awkward one. Rotate it open. You can use a block. Take your right arm back. If you want to tuck your toes and lift your heel, a little bit like you might do in camel pose. There you go, and reach. Take a breath. If you want, you can reach farther. It's up to you. I'm not really going for a big giant back bend. And then on your exhale, downward facing dog pose. Go for it. However you want to get there, whatever you want to do. Take your right leg and lift, please. And bring your right foot up to the front. First warrior pose. Right up there. I'm hoping if you take a deep breath and you drop in, and you just let yourself notice what's going on in your body as you raise your arms. I'm hoping one of the things is that you might notice some shoulders that are getting a workout. Shift your body weight forward. You can use your thigh to brace on. Go ahead and lift your back leg. You're welcome to drop the arms, rotate, and then I'm going to check and see if I can rotate my arms and begin to open up my arms so that my arms are rotated so my thumbs go straight up towards the ceiling. Right up there. 2 more breaths. You got it. Anybody who wants to challenge themselves more with the thumbs up, take your arms straight forward. Both thumbs up. And first warrior pose. Nice job. Nice job, man. Chaturanga or downward facing dog pose. Let's go. Left leg up when you're ready, and left foot to the front. First warrior pose. Know this one can have some challenge in it. Shift your body weight into that front leg. You can brace if you'd like. Try to come up and balance. You got it. Even if you got to put like a toe down, that's fine. See if you can drop the arms, rotate them. And like right here, it almost looks like I'm going to do a volleyball move. My arms are rotated, thumbs out to the side. Begin to open that up. You got it. Rotate. And as you rotate, I want those shoulder blades to rotate down. Go ahead and lift your arms. 2 more breaths. Stay with it. I'm taking a peek at how everyone's doing. Oh, you got it. Nice to see you, Morgan. And first warrior pose. Downward facing dog pose. Right foot forward. If you have your yoga blocks, grab them. You're going to make both legs straight. It's hot in here.
It is.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, there's like, I got one other person in here today, which is pretty cool. That's a busy day these days. And I don't know if I should tell Aaron that the heat is pretty high, but I work up a sweat in here, not just because of the asana, but because there's a little fire going on here. This is like if you go to a good Mexican restaurant, this is down at the bottom of the scale. Not the bottom of the scale, like be careful, don't feed this to your kids on a heat scale, but this is to get you a sweat. With both legs straight, lift your head, lengthen your back and spine. And then try, as you lift your sit bones, to let the very top of your thigh sink back. Those of you who are very privy to really good Anusara training, that's thighs back. Sit bone up, thighs back. Those are connected. Now, if you would, we're going to keep that left hand down. Bring your right hand to your right hip. The shoulder work you've been doing can really help here. So, if you'd like, before you ever get close to squeezing your shoulder blades, push a lot and see how much that'll help you turn. Take this other arm and just take it about halfway out. Don't squeeze your shoulder blades, but draw it in a little, rotate a ton. You can see that thumb going straight up. And then I'm going to push. I'm going to take this arm, rotate it, and just keep pushing it. Push it. As the arm gets higher, then start squeezing the shoulder blade back. Way up there, man. You got it. And second warrior pose. Bend the front knee, open it up to the side. Open it up to the side, bring your forearm to your front thigh, take that other arm straight up. Parshvakonasana. Elbow down to the thigh or the knee, other arm straight up. Open it up to the side so you can make that front leg straight, pivot. Lead with your sit bones. Now this is prelude for other stuff. If you can make your sit bones lift up, the top of the thighs go back better. Feel free to use blocks. Whatever you need, first go for length. And so I think you can see on the monitor, I'm just going for a really good organized spine. In a couple seconds, if you want to dive bomb it down and just get a big full body, full backline body stretch, you're welcome to. This is, for me, this is what my body is telling me it needs. So when I go into that softening and centering, then monitoring. If we're talking about more of emotional stuff and open monitoring, we tend to find out more of our emotional needs. If we're looking at the body and we're honest and we ask that question, sometimes we back off and sometimes we charge forward more, getting an idea about our needs in that moment to help us. If you haven't gone farther down, this is your time, a couple of breaths. Begin to lengthen forward again if you had taken a bow. Walk your hands and whatnot towards the front, pivot towards the front, Let's do a chaturanga. In fact, let's see if anybody wants to do like 3 or 4 or 5. I'm kneeling. So I'm going to do a couple. That little stress, that little pump up and stress of some of that body exertion can be really interfering. I'm just going to do 2, one more, and then cobra or up dog. I'm going to go with a gentle one. So if you haven't noticed in the recent weeks, one of my favorite things is build up a little stress with my exercise and asana intensity and use that as my training ground to drop in towards mindfulness, and for today to begin to assess what I need based on the stresses there. Downward facing dog pose. Let's go ahead and work your left foot to the front of your yoga mat. I'm going to bring it forward. You're going to make both legs straight. The need question is a little bit different than what do I need to perfect the yoga pose. It's a little bit more, especially if we're strong to that concept of compassion, it's a lot more. What do I need to exist in this stressful moment and keep myself a little bit more towards the emotional high water? And if you're at a pretty deep depth, it's just higher than the depth would be without a little bit of your own self-care. That doesn't always mean that you get up to perfection. Rotate your hips a little bit. Right hip forward. And if you've got it ready, I'm going to use a yoga block. That just makes it much easier for me to turn all the way. Begin to turn by the way of pushing. So if I push a lot through this arm, my body, to get a lot more power, it will turn. Then go ahead and take that left arm up, and about halfway up, if you're really low in the shoulder, maybe you draw it back a little. Rotate, and then push. Now, eventually I've got to pull the shoulder blade too. I can't just keep focusing on push the hand. But there's a combination in there, and if you get the timing right, your rotation and your squeeze on the shoulder blade might help you get much farther than you often do. Begin to put a bend into your front knee and come on into second warrior pose, Virabhadrasana 2 or Due. Had a couple of friends from Italy remark on one of the recent classes. So, Guerriero Due. Tip it forward. And stretch out. A little Parshva going out to my friends in Italy. I think we might even be sending a copy of a couple of these out to some friends in China. So if you're translating this for one of the China class crowds, awesome. Ni hao, stretch up. Pivot towards your right. Take your wide stance and your forward fold. And you can go farther forward on this one if you'd like. If it looks strange, like I've got my hand in here, I'm just adjusting my shirt for the mic, so don't worry about that. You don't have to mimic me. And lengthen. Walk your hands to the front, pivot towards the front, chaturanga or down dog. Again, you can skip it. You can also pump it up. Work your way back into downward facing dog pose. Please bring your right foot to the front of your yoga mat. First warrior pose. On your next exhale, shift your body weight towards the front. Make sure you have a block up there. Come on up and balance. Take those arms, rotate. Open it up. Try to keep your right arm open really well. Move your left hand down to that yoga block and see if you can work some of that arm and shoulder mechanics way up there. Yeah, that elbow rotated, the bicep rotated, the thumb going up, press it. As it gets higher, definitely squeeze and push out through that bottom arm. Second warrior pose. You got it. Virabhadrasana 2. Whew. Hope you're working. Get back and stretch up. On your Parshva tip forward. If you want to go a little bit beyond elbow to thigh, you can go hand down to a block or even hand all the way to the floor. Open it up and reach. Big reach. Chaturanga or downward facing dog pose. Let's go with your left foot to the front. Have a block ready. First warrior pose. Shift your body weight into that front leg. You can brace if you need. So I definitely want you to listen to what your body's telling you. If you can, drop the arms. Do that rotation. Begin to open it up. As you take those arms wide like that, the shoulder blades are going to have to squeeze in more as the arms get up here. And I want you to practice rotating and squeezing. Now let's go ahead and bring that right hand down. Just go to a degree. Notice I'm not straight up here. Go as far as you can. Take a breath and soften in. Stay there, hold it. Take a breath and try to soften in. And just see if you can feel where there's stress and strain through the body. Monitor through there. 2 more breaths. If you were going to make a list, what would be on those places? First warrior pose. And right back into second warrior pose. So right in the middle of that storm, can you, by the way, go ahead and tip forward, stretch up. Right in the middle of that mayhem or storm. If you caught one of the classes the other day, in the deepest, darkest part of the cave, can you take a breath and shift into a place where you could monitor, you could be more privy to what's going on in there. And then maybe even contemplate, what do you need to be in that cave or that dark place or that storm? What do you need to be in there more effectively, taking care of yourself on an emotional level? Compassion. Chaturanga or downward facing dog pose. Stay there. Chaturanga or down dog. Well, from your down dog, bring your right foot up to the front of your yoga mat. Take a kneeling lunge. Anjaneyasana, right foot forward. Kneeling lunge again. So I've got a yoga strap. I think today I've been warming up my shoulders enough I could easily clasp well. But here's a little bit of your technique for it. When I take those arms back, and let's just try this with me if you're up for it. I'm not very deep in my lunge. So when my arms are out here, when I go to take that clasp, my experience in watching most folks is the shoulders rotating open is more of what we need. We spend so much time here, we need to rotate those arms open. But that makes it, if you were to look like this, if you keep taking them back, rotate, and then start to take the arms back, squeeze the shoulder blades. But notice you're going knuckles towards knuckles. There's no way you're going to get the hands together. So now I want to squeeze all this stuff so this part of the arm stays rotated open. From there, soften your hands, rotate your palms in, and see if you can keep the biceps rotated open as you do your best to clasp. That's a tough one. If you have your clasp, even if you just broke all those things that we were working on and you just got your yoga strap, fantastic. While you're there, see if you can take your heart and chest up and tighten your core. As you squeeze and rotate your upper arms and chest open, push your thumbs towards each other and pull your arms back. You can lift your head and look up. Yeah. And come on out of that other side. That's a tough one. It's a really tough one. We've been doing so much vinyasa because this is just get the stress out. We haven't been doing a lot of technique. Left leg forward, right leg back. So if you want to do this with the yoga strap, you can just take that strap behind you. And I love this one. I'm going to hold that yoga strap with the strap going over my thumbs. That's going to give me some resistance to rotate against. That can really help you turn on the muscles that help you open. So if you want to start that from behind, I've got my thumbs that are going to push forward. Hope you guys can see that. As you do this, you can even just to practice it, you can hold it straight ahead, wherever you're at, behind or head. Put the thumbs behind the strap and rotate so that your thumbs push the strap up or forward, and you feel the shoulders rotate more open. Do that work. If you've got the yoga strap, maybe you just stay here, or you slowly inch the hands in closer. You got it. Lunge a little bit deeper. Tighten the arms and shoulders and reach them back. And maintain as much of that turn as possible. If you went for the full clasp, hand to hand, at the last moment before clasping, you had to soften the forearms, rotate them so that you could grab the hands. And gently come on back. Right leg forward, left leg back. Thigh stretch. And that's one of the cool things about your arm, is that your shoulder, with its rotator cuff and how the shoulder blade works, it can rotate internal or external. And the head of the arm bone, the humerus, is going to go with that. So if I rotate all this stuff back, my humerus, the bone in the upper arm between the bicep and tricep, it's going to rotate back with that stuff. But then I can choose to soften my forearm, and unlike my lower legs, where I got two bones just like a forearm, I can relax my forearm and I can rotate the hand in. That's why we're so incredibly dexterous. Humans are just crazy. We have crazy dexterity in this stuff. Switch legs. So when you go to do your shoulder work, one of the big keys for what a lot of people need is to keep this upper part rotated open. And if you're going for a clasp, you got to maintain it while you let the lower part rotate closed so you can clasp. Go for your thigh stretch. That's some tough work. If you're newer to class or you haven't gone through an explanation like that before, it is adding technique. As you learn it, if you really check in with yourself, you might find that it lowers the degree of fun sometimes. It increases, if you're really sensitive inside, it increases a desire to be more playful because doing all that technique isn't. So if you're really dropping it and you're mindful when you're doing that, you notice, oh man, I just want to be playful. This is a cool thing to notice about your own self. Downward facing dog. Let's work a little bit with that thigh stretch. Let's take your right leg and lift it up really high, way up there. And then work your right foot up to the front of your yoga mat. First warrior pose. Right up there. Check those shoulders out. Maybe they're feeling tired or maybe they're feeling open. But those are the only two options, nothing else. Shift your body weight into that front leg and press up and balance. I'm going to scoot back a little bit, but stay balancing. Go ahead and bend your left knee. Take hold of your left foot. When you take hold of that foot back there, I really want you to rotate your bicep open. This should sound familiar. even though you rotate your forearm in. Now, there could be a shoulder opener with my thigh stretch. See if you can do that. If you notice that when you do this, it's hard to get your elbow to point straight back, that might be an indicator that your shoulder is really rotating more forward. And if it does that, number one, don't freak out about it. It's pretty normal. By the way, lean forward, press up, reach it out, bow pose. Take a couple of breaths. I'm just checking the people on the monitor. Oh man, you guys look good. And first warrior pose. Please step back, open it up. Virabhadrasana 1. If I'm slowing down too much for you, chaturanga heaven, man. Like 5 or 10 chaturangas as we go to switch sides. I'm going to do a few. Oh yeah. Chaturanga heaven. And down dog. And left foot forward. And come on up, first warrior pose. Okay. Go ahead and bring your arms down by your sides. The right arm, take it out for a second. Rotate the arm. So open up your bicep and your armpit forward as much as you can. And then practice relaxing the lower part of the arm and see if you can keep your bicep up and rotate your wrist down. This is one of the things, it's not just that we have the opposable thumb thing, it's we have some insane mobility where we can rotate the upper arm that way and the lower arm that way. Press up and balance. Now, if you haven't been working on that, what you might notice when you go back to grab the leg is that your shoulder rotates more forward. And that can feel like, if we really open this up in a bow, it can feel like it puts a lot of intense stretch in the front of the shoulder area. So you can take these poses, and if you are going to be part of the training this weekend, because I am requesting that those trainees watch this, and from a visual perspective, for a teacher, for one-on-one, if you're doing your one-on-one client work, a lot of times a student will express through their body a lot of what it's been taught or trained to do. And it might have been trained to do that by sitting at a desk for a little bit longer than it should. First warrior pose. So how we attune and how we monitor makes a huge difference. On your exhale, chaturanga or downward facing dog pose. Let's bring your right foot to the front, come into a kneeling lunge and a thigh stretch. Beautiful time to practice that shoulder work. You might be able to make this a shoulder stretch and a thigh stretch. In a couple moments, we're going to probably be using a yoga block right up in the middle. As you do this pose, take a breath, drop in. By broadening out your awareness, like having a bigger computer screen monitor, you open up that monitor to pick up more of what's going on, and you try to pick it up a little bit unbiased. Not just looking for the bad things or not just looking for the good things. Really good on that thigh and shoulder stretch. Shift your body into that front leg and just see if you can push right up and balance. Shift it forward. Left hand down. Standing on your right foot, left hand down. Open it up. Way to go. Ardha Chandrasana, so switch hands. That's probably the easier one. Second warrior pose. This is our last short sequence. Virabhadrasana 2. Hope you're getting some work today. Plant that forearm, or you can go lower. Stretch up. chaturanga or downward facing dog pose. Okay, left foot forward. Bring it up there. Go ahead and put your back knee down, left foot forward, right thigh stretch. And take a breath. So if we're doing mindful self-compassion, that's really intended to be more of looking at, to be brief about it, your emotional needs to support the mindful open awareness, not just open monitoring. There's a few different types of mindfulness, but that compassion to allow you to be present with something that might make you feel less successful, less awesome. To be compassion might allow you to stay with it. That's just an awesome thing. Now you don't have to be perfect. Go ahead and let go of your foot. You knew you didn't have to be perfect. Press right up and balance. And let's go with that opposite hand. Turn. You can go through all those steps that we did. Take a breath. In the monitor, this looks a little bit weird. This looks like I'm missing a leg. Let's see if I can, there it is. And second warrior pose. Shift it, tip it, reach. You can take that over. Chaturanga. Cobra or up dog. Take your hips back towards your heels, and you can do a really brief child's pose if you would like. One of the descriptions I used to hear about child's pose, and I really appreciate it, mechanically, I think child's pose is a little bit tough on shoulders and neck sometimes, but energetically on a different, deeper, subtle level, this idea that you turn back in towards your core, you let your head tip in, you let your body bow back to those original curves of the infant, and it's dark. And this is a little bit like heading back in to the safe, dark cave. And so sometimes in child's pose, it's pretty nice. The nervous system sometimes will just chill out and relax. Okay, let's shift that. So I'm going to do this. It's been our pigeon pose alternative. So I'm going to bring my right knee towards that right corner, and I'm going to put my right hip right on the edge, directly on that edge. Then for today, I'm going to go a little bit different, and I'm going to bring that back foot up. I'm not sure the technical Sanskrit name. 20, almost 30 years of yoga has not taught me the technical Sanskrit name for this. So I refer to it as the Tom Selleck, and especially since I have the mustache today, this is just, if you don't know who Tom Selleck is, Google. Okay. Magnum PI, most specifically. So on this one, I do want to work, I'm not going to break down all the arm bracing, but if you've been here and we talked about the difference of leaning versus pressing, visually and in your sensory stuff, it should feel different when you're down here as compared to up here. This is where I want you to stay. Okay? To make this pose easier on this leg, you could lean farther out. I want you to go for the foot and see if you can lift it up. Now, if it's tough to get that foot for today, put a little strap, a little loop in your yoga strap, and pull. And then once you get it up there, I want you to practice taking the shoulder of the arm you're lifting the leg with, and I want you to pull that shoulder back. Now, there is a reason why you'd be crunched over, but if you're okay moving your hand farther out there, you can create a lot of space to have a big, tall, upright spine, and especially if you're okay with the yoga strap, you can probably get your head and chest up. So from the core to the crown, you look lengthy. And some of you out there are probably just fine to get really tall. Okay, switch legs. And if you want to press up into a handstand and then switch legs, have at it. Send me a picture. I get the Facebook stuff where it says, you posted a picture 7 years ago or 8 years ago. Look at this one. And it sent me, I must have been advertising a workshop or something. Stay here for a second. And what you might notice here is if your hips are pretty tight, this hip is very lifted. And sometimes just a couple moments, and some of this musculature in here will soften, and it will allow this hip to drop down, including this hip. It'll allow it to rotate a little bit more. So I know it seems like we got to get going and get stuff done fast, but sometimes just a couple moments allows you to drop into that place. Okay, if you want to go for the toe or use the yoga strap, it's up for you. I definitely want you to monitor and attend to the needs of this shoulder. Well, you take that leg up, and then that arm up here, try to take that thing, and you can rotate, thumb up, and pull back. This is also a very difficult way to play catch in a park for a frisbee, but you could do it. And switch sides. Okay. Okay, the arm out part, and I want to tell you that this can be a little precarious. I think it's fun. So those folks who are trusting their shoulders and feel healthy and safe and strong in there, you can follow along. This is just play. Like, this isn't something I went to a workshop and picked up. I just thought I would share with you some of the play on this one. And this is a little bit more my more flexible leg on it. So as I go farther this direction, that leg's getting pretty vertical. So something's getting a bigger stretch. There you go. And I could just take that leg straight out. So one of the ways to get into this big side stretch is just to go slow. Yeah, it's a controlled fall. And if you feel like it, you can keep pulling it. Use the bottom leg and push down. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, we can get scary here. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Look at that. Oh, still got it. Ding. That's the adductors pulling away. All right. Bend the bottom knee. You can use that to press. Come on back up. Cool. If you're one of the people abroad and all you get to see is me teaching workshops, see, we do try to have fun sometimes. Okay, this leg is really working different for me, so I'm still gonna play with the going down to the side, but I'm gonna give myself, just listening to my body more, I'm gonna give myself a little bit more liberty there. So at that, you can probably see the hip bone lift. This sit bone is lifting up off the ground. I'm still gonna plug it in, and I'm doing a little bit of rotate and squeeze in with the leg. So in the same way I pull the shoulder blade in, I'm toning these muscles and I'm pulling it in towards the hip socket. Oh, look at that, it's moving. Whoa, yeah. Leg straight if you want. There you go. And I'm trying to be really respectful to what my body's telling me, not just today, but what it's been telling me recently. And I think I better give this a little bit more slack at the moment. All right, let's begin to come on up and out of that. Nice job. So now is the time. If you would like, you can lay back. In fact, let's do one little twist. Let's lay back and do a little twist together. After this, it's either sit and meditate or take your time and do a shavasana. And so you can just windshield wiper, let the legs fall. Take a breath or two. When we're really active in the pose, that's a really difficult time. That's a difficult time to center in towards your mindfulness place. I use the idea of dropping in. That inner place is where I'm the most mindful and can be the most attentive like that, as opposed to my attention and awareness being kind of out on my shirt sleeve. And begin to tip the legs to the other side. When you get the knees over onto the other side, you can take this moment to just practice breathing and dropping in, soothing. If you feel like you get pretty soothed, you feel safe and comfortable, then you let that awareness spread out. I'm often making the direct connection to the body. And that can be a metaphor, or we could use it analogous to other aspects. So we could also be mindful of how our thoughts are doing or our emotions. The way that we're thinking or our emotional stuff. So I'm hoping that's a transferable skill that we're very mindful through and with our body. But we can take that skill and be mindful in other ways. Begin to work your way back into center. And now's the time when lots of people seem to enjoy pulling the knees into the chest. It's not really my thing for today. So you can give yourself a little hug in there. And if you're thinking, like, I mentioned compassion, but then I didn't really teach a lot of it, today's kind of an introduction. You got to be pretty good. I think it's very helpful to be good or skilled in the mindfulness work before we add the compassion, or we can do a totally separate compassion practice. Either lay back or take a meditation seat. The compassion that touches on a lot of stuff, things like empathy. When we're talking about you and yourself, empathy might sound a little different because we usually refer to that with somebody else. We'll venture in that direction off and on more again. The short end for today on that compassion is to let yourself contemplate. What do I need so that I can stay in that mindful attunement? What do I need on a emotional, kind of survival thing? A lot of times what it is it's just I need kindness. And when you're being filled with the experience of kindness, even if you're in a deep, dark place, if you let that kindness sink in there and touch your heart, You might still be in that deep, dark place, but it feels so different in there. Right where you are, and seated or in Shavasana. Don't move. We're very close to time. I finished up our hour and a quarter. If you've really worked yourself into a good Shavasana or meditation, and you have the time and the space to continue on, please do that. That is so rejuvenating. You're welcome to just push pause or stop or mute. And just lay back, take your seat. Stay with it. As you do finish up your practice for today, the invitation I give you is to make an offering. And this offering is to yourself. This is a tough one between individuals because usually what the other person really, really needs is only something they can provide. So in your empathetic attunement, usually what we can offer is significant, but we can't offer everything. So if you'd like, offer yourself something positive. You can just say, I offer you, this is me talking to myself, I offer you, Adam, some soothing when times are tough. You can trust and count on me. I might not always understand exactly when to do it, but I know that when I pick up the cues, I can offer my heart some support. Offer yourself something that you need. These are things that are human qualities. If you're finishing up with everybody in here in studio, go and bring your hands up to your heart. If you are local, we still have a restriction on how many people we would have in class. So if you're interested in coming to the studio and practicing, there's really only a small number of people that we would take safely. And so please contact us and ask. You can send me a message, send Aaron a message. It's great to see all of you out there and all of you who are in here. Let's finish with an Om together. Take a breath. Namaste.
Namaste.
Wow, I think that shifted to an ad. If you guys can still hear me, it's great to see you all.
Thanks.
Hey, you're welcome. That's new.
Nice.
Aaron's, I'm pretty lucky to be,
Part of this.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now you can chill out. So maybe like a couple of weeks before this stuff started getting intense,
Yeah.
Molly was in California for her school stuff. And I try to fix up the house and take care of projects and stuff when she's gone. And
Yeah.
there's a little less to do. When her dad passed away, we inherited his turntable and records. It's a small record collection, but it's almost all like 70s stuff. A little bit of 80s. And so Ash and I, we had to go buy some speakers and stuff and figure out the wiring, and it's not that complex, but we got it all hooked up. And we started listening to these records, and it's just such a different vibe, coming from the turntable.
Yeah.
And so one of our cool things during this whole thing is almost every day we're listening to all sorts of different hit records from the 70s, 80s, a little bit from the 90s.
Yeah.
And oh man, I put on like the best of the Doobie Brothers the other day.
I have that.
I just about pooped my pants. Like every single song is just awesome.
I know. Yeah. It's a good one.
Yeah, and so it's also been pretty cool to be sitting there growing a mustache and shut into the house and just be like, I am totally just sitting in my living room right now, reading philosophy and drinking tea and jamming out to the Doobie Brothers.
It's a good place to be.
Yeah, that's not so horrible. As long as,
Yeah.
as long as financial collapse is not inevitable.
Right.
Yes.
Or
Yes. The majority of people do it all at the same time.
it's it's kind of a different time. I've been trying to support all my restaurants I used to go to and just keep on eating lunch and ordering food, and